So, welcome to another installment of this Let's Play of Oh No More Lemmings! No, cut it out, we're not doing this again. So, level 11, no probleming. Or is it going to be a probleming? Because, yeah, we're gonna have to build all the way here, and I don't know, so far something feels off. I mean, there's definitely not 5 lemmings on the screen right now. Or is it? Because, yeah, you might have noticed looking at the map screen that something is certainly wrong with this one level. But let's just keep building for good measure. Yep. We were barely halfway done with the ramp, and I'm not even sure if the ramp can get up here, so just in case you didn't figure it yet, here's what the level is all about. There's more lemmings on the total right edge of the level, and these are the lemmings that you have to save in order to win. All you gotta do is build here, and here we go, the level is over. We only have 8 lemmings to save, and yeah, we're done right now. And we're gonna achieve above and beyond the Call of Duty by saving 40 of them. Yep, the others are just impossible to save. You're never gonna save anybody here, so yep, let's just finish watching everybody splat to death. So, all in all, this level is definitely a little bit gimmicky, but I don't know, it's kind of a fun diversion, I guess, just because it's fun trying to see how they're going to fool you. So, yeah, is this level lemming friendly? Yeah, I think it is, so let's not waste too much time here. It's a pretty basic and self-explanatory level. I'm not sure why this level was not in, like, the earlier portions of this difficulty, because that probably would have fitted better here, but it can still throw you off for a loop, because there's a bunch of parts here where you have to be precise. Also, you can use a builder here in order to seal off the gap that leads here, because that's the way to go, because you have no tools in order to dig down, and if we just bash the pillars, then we will just break our legs going down. But, yeah, if you end up using a builder in order to seal off your other lemmings, then you better be ready to do a very precise bash or something in order to destroy the ramp. So, in general, it's better to just use a blocker in order to just seal off the gap. So here's the trickier part of the level. We have to build here, and we gotta make sure that our ramp will stop just before the pillar so that the lemming is not gonna turn back. Otherwise, yeah, you better be ready to do this frame by frame in order to make it so that you're not going to dig up your own ramp and fall into the pit. Yep, and I failed, so yeah, we're definitely not destroying this ramp with a basher, so let's just do what I should have done in the first place. But yeah, if you build off your ramp successfully well enough, it's possible to save everyone, but it will be pretty difficult to do, so it's usually a safer bet to just use a blocker. And then let's just watch the casual walk of the lemming to their exit. Also, I like that whenever you just save a little more than enough lemmings in order to win, oh, you have the makings of a lemmings master. Yeah, we're now in the portion of Crazy where things definitely mellow out for a bit. This is another level that is pretty self-explanatory in overall. So, first lemming gets to be an athlete, and then you dig, and up the release rate so that everybody can fall in the pit and survive the drop down here. I'm really not sure what they're referring to as a trade-off in this level. Maybe they're referring to all of the different places that you can mine, and essentially the gimmick of the level is deciding on how you're going to beat this level fast enough so that you will make it in time. You only have to save 10 lemmings, and I honestly don't know why, because there's not a big part of this level that makes it so that anything is tight here. So we're gonna mine here because the moral of the story is that walking is a whole lot faster than mining, so let's just go for the path that will require us to mine the least. I'm pretty sure that if you mine for the very first portion, you might actually run out of time. I didn't try it out because to me it always seemed really obvious enough, but yeah, I don't know, maybe it's a trade-off because if you somehow forget to build here in order to break off your miner, then half of your lemmings are probably going to die in the pit, but hey, you can just break it off whenever you want, so it's no big deal. But in the end, the trade-off is that we saved everybody! Wait, that's not what a trade-off is, but I'd like to believe that it is. Time never waits for lemmings, more so into this game. So yeah, this level definitely went around quite a bit. This level has been remade for the Genesis version of Lemmings with a different tile set in order to fit the original Lemming graphics and everything. And this was also a level that was shown in the demo version of Oh No More Lemming, which is bundled with Xmas Lemming 1991 on the PC. For some reason, the Amiga and the PC version of Lemmings had different demo levels, so yep. Essentially, the gimmick of this level is that you don't have enough bashers in order to destroy the 3 walls that you have to bash, so that's why we have to send a climber all the way up in order to dig through the entire barrier altogether. And in the meantime, we can just bash through the 2 lower barriers, and now all that remains is the building. If I remember well enough, this level was considered as taxing, I think, on the Genesis version. Not entirely sure because it's kind of a blurry mess to me. I played through it in like one big go in order to see what it was, and it kind of all melts together after a while. Now the final ramp is a little trickier because at one point we're gonna be so high up in the air that our lemmings are gonna splat, so you also need at this point to just switch to floaters and make it so that your lemmings will drop to safety. You can only afford 5 casualties in this level, and that counts the 2 blockers that we have, so if we didn't have any floaters, then we will have just saved enough lemmings because the 3 people that I made floaters probably will have splatted. But hey, the floaters are here in order to eliminate all kind of randomness from the level, so that's pretty nice of their behalf to do that. You didn't need to do that, but you went above the Call of Duty in order to make this level fun to play. It's definitely a far cry from the tame difficulty where nothing seemed to be really thought of. A Worra load of old blocks! Yep, we already went over this title. In the original Lemming, Worra was water or something in Scottish slang or something. So yeah, it's the return of Scottish slang, and I guess a return of Dolly Dimple, because this all seems like it's gonna have a pretty similar strategy. So let's just send one lemming above in order... Okay, so I definitely see what they've made in order to change things a little bit. Yep, this entire place is a death trap waiting for all of your lemmings, so that's definitely not a good thing for you. So the first order of affair here is to build a ramp in order to make it so that none of our lemmings are gonna wander into this hall, but yeah, how the hell are we going to get our lemmings all the way down here? Because it seems as if you need the platform, which is on the lower right in order to save your lemmings, but nah, there's another way. And once again, this is a level that was on the Genesis, and it was a Mayhem level, and rightfully so, because yeah, Dolly Dimple was in Mayhem as well, under the name Dangerous Balcony, shall I remember. So yeah, since it's Dolly Dimple all over again, let's use the same strategies. We're going to build a ramp here in order to ensure that all of our lemmings are gonna go over the hole that we're going to prepare. And we're just going to prepare one big ramp in the middle of nowhere in order to create our lemmings. Just because that there's no ledge doesn't mean that you can't make one. And now the worst part about all of this is that, well, you're probably seeing where this is all going, and yeah, we're not going to be able to save our lemming, which is currently building all of the work in order to get everybody to safety, so yeah. You've done a marvelous job, and it's a shame that we cannot save you from the cement, soda water, whatever it is. Maybe it's just really dirty. But hey, just in case that you don't want all of this lemming's hard work to go in the toilet, there's another way to do things. So, instead of building against this wall and then turn back in order to steer our lemming in the right direction, yeah, just build 2 steps and then mine immediately. Or dig or whatever, but yeah. You've probably noticed what happened here. We've just made a tiny ledge for her lemmings to step on, so now everybody is just gonna go the way that we just went. And here we go. This way we can save 1 extra lemming without feeling bad about yourself, so congratulations. And I'm pretty sure that if you do the level this way, it also takes less time to beat. So, yeah, I think this solution is much better in pretty much every way. Oh, welcome to the 16 team level of Crazy. Across the gap, 16 lemmings, 16 need to be safe, and you've got 16 of a whole lot of skills, but yeah, not the ones that you'd expect will be useful in this one level. AKA the builders. We only have 3, so what we're gonna have to do here, we're gonna have to make one holding cell for all of our lemmings to go in while we prepare the path with this one lemming. So yeah, we're just gonna build here, and now we're going to free the way for everybody else thanks to a well-placed miner. And I put the emphasis on well-placed because so far I don't think that this lemming is well-placed at all. Too late. I unfortunately could not prevent the catastrophe from happening. If I built early enough, I would have stopped the miner from doing what it did, but the easiest way will just to mine way later, so that instead of just running the risk of mining the other wall which is on the left, yeah, we're just going to have the miner stop by falling in the air or something like that. Here we go. Now everything is perfect. Now all that we need to do is to bash through everything else, and here we go. Level is over. And it's a pretty neat level in overall, just because it seems pretty simplistic to figure out what you have to do. It's a pretty simple looking level, but pulling it off is once again another story. And now, are you ready? Because it's time for us to scream, "Digging for victory!" Yeah, we're now at the part of Crazy where the designers decided to be really shouty with their level titles. Also, in Ice Lemming 1991 for the Amiga, that was the first level that was included. That was a preview of Oh No More Lemmings. So, yeah, it's quite the intro because that's definitely a level that seems pretty overwhelming. As the title implies, we're gonna have to dig for victory because there's no way we're gonna build over this gigantic pit. At least this is a trailblazer level, which is going to make things a little easier on you to grasp, but it definitely requires some good precision because there's some parts of this level which are going to be really nasty, and whenever you first play the level, you'll probably be thinking that, hey, this is not a survivable drop, but yeah, it is. There's a reason that you only need to use 2 of your diggers is because, well, we need the 3rd one for later, because you need it in order to make the tunnel that will lead you to the end, because, yeah, that's how we're going to cross this gigantic pit of water over here. We have to dig, but first, we need to build. You could clear the barrel with only 1 builder, but it's really hard to do, and it really depends on you being overly precise as all hell, so it's better to just use 2. So that means that this portion here will become very precise. Also, it's very important that you shrug whenever you build the final step, because otherwise, yeah, just look at how tiny the floor underneath our feet is. This is a very precise staircase that you have to build in order for the tunnel to work properly. If you have 3 builders in order to build a bridge, then it's definitely easier. But I just think that building over the barrel with only 1 builder is harder than what I'm doing right now, so yeah, it's kind of a trade-off. What part of the level do you want to be harder or not? Also, it's important to release your lemmings fast enough because they have a pretty long walk ahead of themselves, so it's really easy to run out of time whenever you do this level. So, yep, definitely a level that can be pretty hairy, especially on the first times that you do it. Oh, alright, I guess this level is gonna be no problem! Jeez, that's okay, you can stop the yelling game. Or maybe I'm the one that needs to stop the yelling because nothing is forcing me to do that. Oh wait, what is this? Okay, apparently my contract says I'm obligated to yell every single one of these level titles, so I'm sorry in advance. So yeah, this level is entitled No Problem, but the level in some way is easy and isn't. The big problem of this level is to figure out how all of your lemmings are going to stop dying in this level, because it's gonna come... Oh, it's gonna come really close, but I guess I mine way too early, because I'm a victim of the deadly laser gun, and yeah, we even have a vacuum for Lemmings, just in order to add further salt into the injury wound. Wait. I think that was a little bit redundant. But yeah, you have to count your casualties because, yeah, usually you're pretty much going to kill exactly 5 Lemmings, and that's all that you can afford in this one level. Now we need to set a blocker because we need to have some peace and quiet in order to build over soap land over here. And now, yeah, this Lemming is dead, unfortunately. Yep, dying in the soap. With that said, we can't really say that they didn't get any creative with the water in the tile sets of Oh No More Lemmings. Out of the 4 tile sets that we have, only the ice level or whatever have the normal looking water, because it's really icy cold, and yeah, they definitely portrayed it really well. So far it seems that a whole lot of people are preferring the look of these levels over the one in Lemmings. I'm not entirely sure if it's because of the familiarity of the Lemmings tile set and everything, but yeah, it definitely has nice looking levels for the most part. And yeah, once again, don't waste too much time because you only have 3 minutes, and for this level that's just barely enough to get to the end. So yeah, even though figuring out what you had to do in this level was not too hard, it definitely is going to raise a few goosebumps whenever you'll be doing it. So alright, don't panic! Oh dear, my voice just broke off for a second. Alright, so first thing first, let's not go to the left. I don't want to brave the laser gun. You've seen what it does, and we don't need to see it ever again. You have several paths that you can take in order to get to the end, and generally I just take the one that seems intended by the designers because usually it's the one that is the most hassle-free. You're gonna have one bit of a problem later on in the level, but generally it's not too bad. Yep, goodbye. So here we don't want any trailblazers because yeah, we're just going to block and build as we make up the path along. Right now our Lemmings are not in danger because they cannot go where the laser gun is anymore because the bubbles are preventing them from going all the way back up. So whenever we'll have built our entire path, yeah, it's a little hairy, but don't worry, your Lemmings can survive these drops. And now time for the final ramp that we have to build. And what we're gonna do here, we're gonna assign a climber. We're definitely gonna have to waste some time because he's gonna need to hit the right wall altogether in order to be able to come back and bash the way, which is definitely worrying for your time limit, but don't worry, we still have plenty of time, so don't panic indeed. Now we have a problem, because we don't have any more digger, we're gonna have to use bombers in order to break off the path that leads to the exit. So, once again, we have quite another trade-off into our hands. You can either use the bombers at the beginning of the level in order to dig past the laser gun. You probably are going to use like a blocker in order to hold off your Lemmings from hitting the laser gun to begin with, and then you build up the bubbles, but I think that the digger at the beginning allows you to save quite a considerable chunk of level, and with the landmarks that you have going here with the one-way wall and everything, it's pretty easy to time off your bombers in order to dig your way to the exit, so generally it's better to just dig at the beginning. And here's our final challenge in the crazy difficulty, Ice Lemming. Now, something that we definitely have noticed so far in Oh No More Lemmings was that the level layout, for the most part, was pretty straightforward. Well, not straightforward, but it was pretty linear. You usually only had like one possible solution for levels, and that will be it. But this level definitely switches things up a little bit. There's a lot of ways in order to build your way through victory into this one level, and none of them are that simple, so you better ready up, because this level might get nasty in time. Also, another thing that you probably have noticed with the level design of this game in general is that, for the most part, the levels in this game are a whole lot more short in scope and in length. It's like, in this game, you're not going to find levels like going up in Mayhem, the other game, which was really absurd in how long it took in order to beat the level. Like, You spent almost 2 minutes bashing your way through a wall, and you had like 9 minutes in order to solve it. There was also Mind the Step, which was a really big level that took on a shitload of time in order to win. You were given 7 minutes in order to beat this level, and we went through almost all of that time limit if you remember well. At least in this game, you don't get levels like this. For the most part, the puzzles are definitely harder to figure out, but they don't require as much time wasting as the regular Lemmings did, which is definitely something that I like the level design of this game for. It's definitely a whole lot less long-winded than it used to be, so that's definitely one of the better parts of the level design. With that said, it comes at a price, and the price is the levels are for the most part a whole lot less forgiving. I'm not saying that this one level is not forgiving, because you definitely have way more builders than you need in order to beat this level. Not entirely sure why you even have like 10 bashers, considering that almost the entirety of the level is made out of steel, so you're not even gonna be able to use your bashers, but having more tools is always better than not having enough. So alright, it's time for a bashers. Oh, you son of a bitch! Yep. Also, the level design of Oh No More Lemmings really does not shy away from fuck you trap. They put in a 1 pixel wide gap in order to make it so that if you do not build here, you're just going to fall down to your death and lose the level. Wow, that is a dick move if I've seen one. Holy shit. And yeah, you better keep your eyes peeled, because you can be sure that's not going to be the last time that this game will pull off this trick on you. Also, I'm not sure why I put a blocker up there, considering that everything just kinda end up branching up at the same place as long as you make your ramps properly, but details. Besides, you only need to save 10 Lemmings on this one level, so it's no biggie. And that's it! We finally finished the crazy difficulty, and now we're probably in a good way to finish the rest of the game. Think again, because we still have 3 more difficulty levels to go, and somehow they're going to get harder, if you couldn't believe it. So, how the hell is the game going to keep on scaling up the odds in order to make it so that the game is somehow going to get harder than this? Because yeah, that definitely was a pretty hard entryway into Oh No More Lemmings, but yeah, things are going to get worse. So stay tuned, as in the next update, we're going to tackle the wild difficulty.